When I was considering studying psychology in college, my guidance counselor actually told me that I should be very careful because psychology was a very secular field and that I should be suspicious of it. So that was the type of faith community that I grew up in, where psychology was viewed as a discipline that was not compatible with Christian faith. Throughout my years, in actuality, I've learned that psychology is very compatible with my Christian faith. It's a way to love others, to show respect to other people, including my neighbors who may or may not be part of my own communities. And to be able to do psychology in a way that serves others and serves others who are made in God's image is something that I find really rewarding, whether it be through my teaching or my research. So despite the fact that when I first started learning about psychology, I was told that it should be something that should be viewed as a lot of skepticism, I have grown into this role of seeing psychology as a way to live into my calling and loving others through my teaching and my research. Another way that I integrate faith into my research is by studying religiosity as both a protective factor, but also sometimes as an exacerbating factor. What I mean by that is when I study the topic of racism and how it impacts well-being and emotional health, I find that in my research that religious and Christian communities are sometimes not very good at helping individuals manage experiences of racism and how that then relates to even more emotional distress. When messaging such as it's not very Christian to talk about racism, or you should be emphasizing forgiveness over justice, when those kinds of messaging might be perpetuated, I would argue that in my research, I've seen how the emotional distress caused by racism is even more exacerbated. I've also seen how religion and specifically Christianity can be used to protect against the negative effects of racism on mental health. So especially when it comes to Christian communities and how the support drawn from Christian communities can guard against the negative effects of psychological distress, that's been super helpful. And I want to continue to identify those factors as a way to inform Christian communities about effective and not so effective ways to respond to things like racism. So those are some of the things that motivate me from a faith perspective in terms of what I do in research and what I do in teaching.